Hi everyone, it's Dasher Dave here again, and I'm back for another crafty video. So today we're going to make one of these, which is, this is an internal use envelope. So these get used in offices and departments and things for sending between departments for internal post. And I've kind of recreated a kind of used one because I'm aware that not everybody can get these. I've got some, but I covet them and I don't like using them. So I'm going to show you how to make some. So all you're going to need is some paper to make it with. I'm going to use, well, we'll use this for instance because it's here. And all we're going to do is we're going to make it from one of those envelopes that I've shown you how to make, the really easy curl round envelope. So normally you would have the join down the middle. We're just going to have the join off to one side, and so we're just going to do this. Going to fold it down. So you just want to make an envelope first. This is the main thing. So hold your envelope down. Just try and kind of get it a bit sort of straight-ish. So like I say, I've shown you how to make these before. We're just going to make the basic envelope first, and then we're going to go into all of the details. So one of the key features that they have is they have these holes in them, and those holes just help the person to know whether there's something already in there or if it's an empty envelope ready for use. Now what happens is whenever it's gone to a department, it's crossed out and then it gets put back for reuse, and you just keep filling up all these boxes until it's kind of done, and then often they'll overstick it with a new sticker, which I've done, and then you'll often see that things have been cancelled because it's a tatty envelope now and you can use a new one. So so we're just, like I say, I'm just going to make one of the envelopes first. So once we've got this shape, okay, then what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this up so that we've got a little fold at the bottom. I've shown you how to make these envelopes before, but we'll do it again. I've just had my what's there? When it's the same colour as the desk and you lose it. My bone folder is what I was looking for. Okay, and then we're just going to have this flap at the top. So the flap, I'm going to keep this edge on, so I don't mind it having this edge. This punched edge, that's not a problem for me. If you want to, if you want to get rid of it, you won't necessarily have a piece of paper like this. So I'll shut up now, shall I, Dave? So once we've done this, what we're going to do is we're going to lose this bit here. We're going to lose this bit here. We're going to lose this bit here, and we're going to lose this bit here. Okay, so we're just going to cut those. I'm going to get my Tim Holt scissors out, because these are the only scissors I don't use with glue, so I know that they are clean. I'm just going to cut up to that. So this is just cut on a diagonal up to there. This is going to cut on a diagonal as well, just so that there's no bulk in this edge when it meets here, when this folds up. Again, cut this little bit on a diagonal, and then cut this on a slight diagonal, just so you're not getting the bulk of that fold in the. So you're cutting up basically the fold often a little bit more, so that when it folds over, it's not in the way of this folding up. Okay, we're going to cut a little bit of a diagonal there, and then also there. This bit off as well, and this one we're going to cut a bit more straight, but we're just going to be a little bit, so we're going to go straight, but we're just going to be lower than the fold. Okay, and then that's not going to get in the way when it folds over, so like that. Okay, so then you just want to put it together, so let's get rid of all my bits. Okay, so I wasn't worried about this bit here. You're not going to see it, so it doesn't make any difference. It's a raw edge. I've bought myself a bigger art glitter glue. So this was my previous one. It's like, I feel like a borrower now. It's got so much bigger. So I'm going to clean that bottle out and reuse it. I had to put some other glue in there to use a fine point because I'd run out of this and I hadn't got any more of this. But Brian showed me on Amazon where I can buy this for. So this is an 8-ounce bottle, and this cost me £17. So that's quite a lot of money. I realise, but you know, it goes a long way because you only use a little bit, and also, you know, we can't live without it, can we? So we have to. The price we pay for our art. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on there, put that up. So these envelopes, because they are this kind of utilitarian style, you kind of see all the bare bones of it. I just want to make sure that so you have these the joins and the flaps on the outside, because you want those elements, or if you don't, then you don't. So I'm just going to kind of round this corner a little now, because I've cut it on a wonk. It's not going to round as well on a diagonal, but we're just going to take the corners off it. I know what I mean by on a wonk. So, and Brian's here and he says he does too, so he loves the word. Is that right? Is that what you said? Yeah. Cut it on the wonk. There you go. So it's a technical term. So cattywampus, isn't it? That's another term for on the yeah, cattywampus is something that Nick the Booksmith says. I don't know why I put the lid back on there, because I need to use that now. So I'm just going to glue this flap down. Obviously not going to glue that one down because we want to be able to access the envelope, and I'm going to show you it, you know, without the writing on. The writing was kindly done courtesy of Brian, because he can write better than I can, and I really hate my writing. So anybody that's seen my writing will know why I feel like that. So I really do not like it. So, but I can't do anything about it. So there we go. So we've made our envelope. Okay, so this is going to be our flap. Just going to score in all of those bits. Okay, so now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to make all of the lines. So literally all I did was I used the width of a ruler. The top bit I used a wider ruler. I used the width of a ruler to decide where my lines were going to be, and I got myself, you can either use Sharpie, or this is a Papermate flair. So a flair, not fleur. So, and all I did was just draw a line across the top. So that's where your header will go. So I initially had this where I'd written it. Now I made this a while ago and I didn't use them because I really don't like the way I write, and I wrote it on the top. So, and then this one I used one of those individual letter stamps that I didn't like either. So I thought, how else can I do this bit at the top? And what I did use was I've got a Brother P-Touch machine, and I ended up using this to make this writing across the top. But if you like your writing, then that's absolutely fine. So lots of people can write in various styles, and I can't. I can only write in one way. So once I've done the line across the top, then I did the line across the middle. So I just found where the middle of this is. Oh, luckily it is exactly bob on 6 inches. So that means the middle of that will be 3. I'm just going to put a little dot there. And then I'm also going to go down to the bottom, and hopefully it's also 6 inches, which it is. And I'll put a dot there, and then I'm just going to join those 2 dots up. So, like this. Just put a line there, and then all I did was I put the width of my narrower ruler, and I just went across and marked. And my pen might be running out a bit, but that's fine. It all adds to the beauty of it, the utilitarian style, make do with what you've got kind of thing. Doing utilitarian stuff has really helped me to not get too fixated on trying to make it perfect. In fact, the less perfect it looks, the better. So it's kind of really helped me. I know that we say there is no such thing as perfection, but you can become a bit obsessed about, you know, I need it to look like this, I need it to look like this. And the utilitarian stuff, that's the reason why I've kind of really thrown myself into this. It's kind of my USP. So it's, you know, it's something that not so many crafters are doing. I realise I'm not the only person doing it, but it's good that there isn't, you know, the pond is less crowded. So there we go. So that's the basics of it. And like all I said, all I did was I put some holes in it. Okay. Now you can equally space these out. Okay. All I did was I put it in the middle of one of the partitions that I'd made. So I did one here, then I left a space, then I did another one, then I left a space and did another one, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. But you can use a ruler and get it perfect if you wish, but remember, there is no perfection, well, especially if you're doing the utilitarian. And then all I did was I used my crocodile, and I just did it with the furthest reach I could, so this pushed right in so that it reaches into the envelope as far as I can, and then I just make a punch, and then make a punch, and then again make a punch. Now you could make these decorative as well, so you could do them in a, you know, you could use a, you know, digital print, or you could use a piece of music paper or newspaper or book page or whatever you like. There is no right or wrong, because, you know, it doesn't have to look like it belongs in an office. You can just make it beautiful, can't you? So once I've made it like this, you're kind of almost there. So all we're going to do now is we're going to put our... Now the reason why this has got a separate thing stuck over the top, at the top, is because I'd written it and I didn't like my handwriting. So, but I've already printed some of these out, so I'm going to just stick these on instead. I'm just going to cut this down. But this time round, instead of getting Brian to write all of this, because like apparently he struggled to come up with people's name, he couldn't think of any surnames, he couldn't think of any departments, he could like...
It's fine until you put it in front of you.
Yeah, also like... And then when he gave it me back, he was going, oh, and you could put this on it, and then, so it's as soon as like you're kind of faced with that blank page thing, your brain just works overtime and says no. So we're just going to put this in the middle like that. That's kind of eye-guided middle, it's not perfect middle. And we're going to cut this bit off here. So the way that this prints, it prints a little double dot here, it tells you where if you cut that bit off, it will have the same spacing at either end. I've had this P-Touch for 12 years, something like that. You can still get these things. So Brother and Dymo do them, and all sorts of things. So all sorts of companies do them. So there we go. That's another bit. Okay. So the other thing that we're going to do is we're just going to make it look a little bit older. So we're just going to ink it, because you know we like it to be inky. Well, you know I like it to be inky. I don't know about you, but I do. So I'm just going to make inkify it up. On inkify. Look like it's been hanging around for a while. So if you ink over this, it's plastic, so it'll just rub off. So just, you know, be aware, if you want to make this look older, then you're going to need to use alcohol inks in order to get that to look older. So if you look on the original one here, this was made. This is this kind of that utilitarian green stuff, and it's faded on the edges of here. So rather than fading it, I'm making it look dirty around the edges. So that's one thing I'd like, is I'd like some way of making it look older on the edge. Now you could use some white on here, but it's going to look too white, and I'd love to find something that could,
something oxide.
yeah, I've thought about oxide, and I tried oxide, but it still disappears. It doesn't. I'd like something that lightens. So maybe bleaching, but like it's bad enough in this craft room with all of the experimental stuff that goes on as it is, without getting bleach involved. So like I say, I'm just going to ink all over it. So Brian had suggested, oxide, which I did try oxide, but it didn't cover it enough for me. It didn't make it look light enough. So it kind of, if you put the brown on, it goes brown, and what I want it to do is to lighten the paper and make it still look the same colour as it did, but in a faded version of it. I mean, I guess the way to do that is to leave it in the sunlight for a bit. So apparently Brian's going to show me something afterwards, but like I don't want to be doing that now while I'm doing the video. So, but like I say, I don't know all the answers for everything. I only know what I've tried. So I'm just going to go over it like that, and then all the other thing is, I'm just going to get my metal ruler, and I'm just going to rough up the edges. So, and then rough the surface up a bit. And then ink over that, because that's too white now. Across that edge as well. And the other thing you can do is you put like an ink splatter on it. That also makes me feel like it feels like it's been in an office somewhere. So we're just going to do there we go, perfect. So those daubers, if you just drop them on their spongy bit, that makes them look like they're like an ink splatter, and then if you just dab it out, there you go, perfect, it's fine. So obviously if you wanted to then write it, write it, so what happens is you write over it and then you cancel it out, you write over it and you cancel it out. So Brian had written addresses on here, and then we just covered over it, but you just do whatever you feel. And sometimes you'll get things like these. This is when you can use your officey stamps over these, because if you're sending it to like HR or something, it might need to be urgent, or it might be that it's a private and confidential document or whatever. You could put one of those document closure style things on the back. They very often don't. If you look at these, you don't actually do anything to seal them. You just send them like this. Occasionally you'll get like they come with a sticky dot basically that loses its stick over time. So if you can hear noise outside, it's because I've got my window open, and it's a very hot day today. So but there you go. So the other thing that you can make it from is you can make it from this decorator's paper. So you can get this in like a dark green. This is a lighter colour green, still just as good though. I'd love to know where this one came from, but somebody had sent it me, and I don't know where they got it from. But the lighter green stuff is the stuff I ordered from Amazon. So it's decorator's paper. So apparently you kind of stick it on the skirting board, so that when you're painting the wall, it can go all over your carpet, etc. So all I've done is I've taken this was folded up, and I've ironed it, but it's got you can see some of the lines in it, but I don't worry about that. Pick a side that I like. Don't think it really makes much difference, Dave. And then I'm just going to make this into the same sort of envelope shape. Let's just fold this bit over. So we'll make another one like this. I was going to leave it at one, making one, but I'm decided to make another one. So and this is the reason why this will be inserted into the video that I've just made. So So it'll, well, at the end of this, it will jump back to that other video. So because that's got the ending on it. So it's because my brain was working overtime a bit. So I kind of got distracted and didn't think to make another one. So anyway, so let's make this. Let's glue this down. Go. That's our envelope shape, and we're just going to do the same thing as we did before. So again, I'm going to use this as the width of the top. I'm just going to be a bit further away from the top bit, and we're going to use this because this is a blue line. I'm not going to really tell that it's a blue line. It's a very dark blue line, but the other one's running out. So. Again, I've got another one of these already printed, ready to go. I was intended to make 2 lots of them anyway. So take this off, cut this bit off. Yeah. So if you wanted to ink this, you're going to need to use like this. So this has got alcohol ink on it. I think it might be dry now, but like you just need to dab over it with alcohol ink, which this is dry now because it's just been sat there, but just dab over this. In fact, let me just show you what I mean by that. So just get a piece of scrap paper, get my alcohol inks, which I've just had out for a previous project, empty everything out of it, which I didn't mean to do. In fact, let's see if we can find a greeny coloured one. My epoxy resin dyes are also in here. So that's a green, but I don't want it to be too green. There you go, that's more kind of the colour I was thinking. Let's see what this looks like. This isn't the piece I'm going to use, so I'm just going to test it on here. If I did it in that, how happy would I be with it? Oh, don't wipe it all off, Dave. That's the answer. I'll quite like that. Yeah, let's do that. So we're just going to ink over this one this time. Might make it a bit greener because it's reactivating the alcohol ink that was on there, and which was brown. But that's fine. I like the way that that's turned out. I'm just going to go over this one. Oop. Do the whole thing. That's fine. Yep, I like that. Put that to one side. Don't forget, if you're using alcohol ink, don't make sure that you've got a window open, because it will create fumes. What on earth is going on with that? There you go. Put those away. Try not to empty that box of inks all over the floor like I did before. Okay, so these need to dry. Okay, so I'm just going to dry them. I just want to set it with a heat gun. Remember, it's plastic, so you don't want it to melt, you just want it to dry. My thing started to make a funny noise when it's working. I don't know what that's about. So is it on its way out? I don't know. Better not. It's a Ranger heated, a real one. It should last for forever, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I think that was nice.
No, I haven't had it that long, to be fair. I'm just going to put a bit more on there because it started to shrink away from the sides. I'm happy with that one. Is that dry now? It's dry. I might put a little bit more on. The problem is if you put more on, it will reactivate what's already on there. So just, you know, if you've got it looking great, leave it. You'll end up making it look not great, and then you'll be frustrated with yourself. So it's always better if you leave it to dry naturally. This will be tacky until you've left it for it's like when you do your faux sellotape. It'll be tacky until you've left it for at least 24 hours. So just cut that off. Cut that off there. And then take this one. Well, that one's already cut, so I don't have to do anything with that. Move that out of the way. Yeah, so we're going to put this on here. So this feels a bit more military-like. I'm going to put this on here. Okay, about there, hopefully. Yep, that's right. And then this one. I'll put this one on as well. That's not very straight, but never mind. That'll do. Somewhere in the middle, isn't it? So there we go. So that's another one. So, and that also will look great on the thumbnail. So if I'd put this on the thumbnail, it'd be like, where did you get that one from? What did you make that one with? So I'd rather make it on the thing. So that's the original. That's the one that we've just made. Oh, we need to make our holes in this. So again, we're going to go, should we go top this time? We'll go top, hole, middle, hole, second from bottom, hole, turn it round. That one, and that one. There we go. There are the things. If you wanted to put a hole down the middle, you might have to use your anywhere punch, or you might use your big bite. I shall just get the big bite out for the sake of getting the big bite out, Dave. So I think that's what it's called. Is it called a big bite? I can't remember now.
You've got one, you might as well use it.
Yep, so Brian bought me this for Christmas. So Brian's a great craft buyer because he's a crafter. So like he knows just the kind of thing that another crafter will like. So, you know, get him on your good side and you might get something nice for Christmas. So there we go. We've got some different holes in it. We can make this a little bit inky. So one of the things that Brian was saying was if you use an oxide ink and you put the ink on the reverse side and then the chalk will soak through and you get like a whiter kind of edge. The problem is that I have, which is great. I will try it. The only problem is I don't like the feel of oxide inks. That's the reason why I don't really have any, because I really just don't like the feel of them. It's that chalky thing. I just don't like the feel of it. So it's funny, isn't it? So how we feel about these things. Well, I mean, I guess it's quite normal for me because it's a textural thing, and I'm quite weird about textures. So
Some people prefer the inks to the oxide.
yeah. So Brian's just said, I'm aware that Brian can be very quiet when because he hasn't got a microphone on. So, but like Brian's saying, that, you know, some people like ink, some people like oxides. It's a personal preference thing. For me, it's I like the look of the oxides. I just don't like the feel of them. So, if they could be less chalky, but I guess that's the whole point of them, to be chalky. So.
Last as long as you never have to use them,
Yeah, so like they're great. Like Brian says, they're great as long as I don't have to use them. So, I can't even get other people to do them for me because I still have to touch them after it's been done. So, it would defeat the object. I wouldn't ever be able to touch that item again. So, I'm all right with it sometimes. Again, that's though textures for me. I'm all right with them sometimes, and then other times I just can't. I can't cope with them. So, if I'm feeling overstimulated, it's a common thing though for autistic people to feel funny about textures and things, and so you know, that's one of the things that I'm definitely autistic about. So food, not so much. I'm not so worried about textures of food, but I am about the things that I touch and feel. So there we go. So that's another one. So that's just made with a bit of a thinner paper. So that's the original that we had. Then we have the other one that I made, which eludes me at the moment. So I have no idea where I put that. So it's somewhere. It's over here. So, and then we have the prototype that I did, and remember you can fill it out like this if you want to. That's entirely up to you. And if you have great writing, I might send mine to you. So, because otherwise Brian's going to get a bit fed up of having to write them all. So, especially because you can't think of what to say on them. So, that was the original I was inspired by. That was the one I made from the inspiration. That's the one I made on camera, and then that's the second one I made on camera. So hopefully you will give those a go, and you know, give it a try. So I'll cut back to the end of it where I've only made these two. So just be aware of that. All right, I'll let it cut back. So that's it. So that's just a very quick, easy. You can go and make all sorts of different ones of them, make it with whatever paper you've got, and hopefully you'll give it a try. So just another interesting thing to put in your journals. So anyway, my name is Dash of Dave, and I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to, and I will see you all in the next video. If you've liked this, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Take care, folks. Lots of love. Lots of hugs. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.